that familiarity why you still like having the Gangsta Grizzlies drops on your songs and shit?
That, and it's classic. When people hear that, they're anticipating something amazing. So that's what I wanted. And the first time I asked him for that, he's like, bro, you don't want that. I'm like, boy, I got the file now. I can put it on anything. I'll be doing slow R&B ballads, putting that on there.
Right.
Yeah, I can do whatever I want with the Gangsta Girls tag now.
I love it. And if anybody else were to use it, are they going to end up having to pay Drama?
Ain't no telling. Maybe so.
I don't know. Does it work that way?
He's got it. He has to be the one that places it.
It's like a fucking sample.
Yeah,
I would
exactly.
think. I don't know. I saw Drama like almost get heated at somebody I was with at the studio because he was doing like the radio show thing, and he was supposed to do a drop, and he's like, I don't want to do a drop. Drama was not gonna let this fool out of there without doing the drop. Like he just wanted him to say like,
oh, your homeboy didn't want to do the
DJ Drama, Gangsta Girls, blah blah blah. My one homie was like, I don't do radio drops, and they were like, Drama was like, nah, you got to do the drop, and it was like awkward tension for a minute, bro.
See, that's fire to me. I love people that are okay with making other people uncomfortable like that.
Yes. Oh my God, I totally agree with that.
On a traditional level, like you're in my studio. Like I don't know who it was, but that's one thing I like about Drama. He does that to me. He made me feel bad about myself sometimes.
Really?
And then 20 minutes later, I feel good because he did that.
That's so interesting because a lot of times when you're in the studio with somebody, it's like, let's be real, like he knows a fuckload about music and his opinion really matters. And if he were to tell you like, yo, I don't like this bar and you should use this word different and you should rap differently on this part of the song, whatever. A lot of people aren't going to have that kind of conversation with you because realistically, they just don't give a fuck. Being around somebody that actually will risk offending you or like challenging you is something that, I mean, you don't get that from a lot of people in this music industry because people just don't give a fuck.
He checks me all the time. Checks me all the time.
Really?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's like, and he tells great stories. It's like having a dad, you know what I mean? I mean, I have a dad, but it's like having another dad.
Right.
That's mixed.
That's got to help.
Yeah.
You ever talk to him about the, that's what I want to interview him. I'm sure he's talked about it mad times, but I want to talk about that Fed case, bro. That's what, I would love to hear him talk about that. I could probably search and find it on YouTube.
He's told me a little bit about that. I haven't dove into that a ton.
The fact that he survived that is the craziest shit ever.
Legendary.
That's crazy. That's like
Cannon be talking about that too.
Yeah.
Crazy times.
Yeah. What's the relationship with Cannon? Like, is he a little bit more hands off or?
He a little more hands on. Like what you were talking about in the studio about making Drama don't really do that to me. Drama talks to me on like a different level. Cannon is more in the studio, giving me his opinions on my music, telling me what I should do about this and that.
Right.
So he be looking out. He helps me craft the songs. I mean, the first song, for example, on this tour, the song I come out to on my set, every night I come out to the same song, right? When I made the song, Cannon told me, he's like, this is what you're going to come out to on your tour. I can hear it. It sounds like it. I didn't feel that way before he said that. And so we put it first, and it's been crazy since. So just little stuff like that. He's got a lot of musical knowledge. So he gives me a lot of game.
When you look at where you were at when you signed with them versus where you're at now, like how much do you feel like you've grown as an artist in terms of really learning how to put a song together?
A ton. I feel like since 3 months ago, I'm way better. I don't know. It's just, I'm into it. I'm into getting better, man. I just want to be like on the Rushmore. I really want to be one of the GOATs, bro. I really like care about music, so I'm into it. And any game they can give me, I'm taking it. Yeah,
because I hear you like sort of, I forget what song it was, but I was listening to one of your songs and you're sort of expressing that level where you're like not 100% sure of like if you're gonna get where you really want to go, and like I appreciate that you'll actually talk openly about that because I mean everybody clearly thinks about that in the music industry, but I just like heard you talking on songs last night about how you're actually aware of that, and like you're like, is that sort of this crushing, overwhelming feeling that like you just have these things you want to accomplish so bad and you just have to fight for them all the time?
It's some of that, and like majority of it is sometimes I think my fear is that I want so much that I remember when I wanted what I have now. I remember when I wanted to do an interview with you. Not that I stopped wanting to, but I'm saying I remember wanting this.
Right.
And now I'm happy I'm here, and now I want even more.
But you're living your life and you're not thinking about the fact that there was a moment in your life. Like there was a moment in my life where I'd have fucking killed to, you know, do any of this. Like I fucking just did I went on Sway's show and I'm like, but I never stopped to think like, damn, I would have fucking killed to have that opportunity a couple of years ago. You forget about the fact that you've accomplished all your goals.
And because of that, sometimes I think my worry is that I could get to where a Post Malone is, a Drake is, and still be Why am I not king of the world though?
Right.
Because a man's greed is powerful. You always want more. You always seeing what else you can have. So that's the thing that I fear is like, am I chasing the right things? I think it's good to achieve something, but am I chasing the right things? Because will I ever be happy if this is what I keep? Because I'm not 100% happy yet. I'm not depressed.
Right.
But I know I still want more now, and I used to want to kill for this. So how much more do I need before I'm like, I'm good?
The thing you want
Chasing not the right things. Man.
Right, the thing you want to be in love with is the actual creation of the art, of the content, because that's the one thing that can never be taken from you, is just to continue to work. And it's like when you get too married to being in love with the success or with being in a certain position, that's like, that stuff is out of your control. I know so many people that are still making music 20 years later, and it's like, yeah, people aren't really checking for it like that, but it's still a possibility. And it's like, I really respect the fact that they've stayed true to themselves, regardless of the fact that it might not be represented through the plays or whatever. You know?
I agree. You can't get in love with the numbers because it's one out of your control. So that's why something is better than fucking to me. I like it more than sex is making a good song. I swear to God, it feels so good. When you make something that you think is hot, just euphoria. You just feel so good. So that's what I chase every time in the studio.
When you drop something, how much are you thinking about the public reaction? Like, are you, because like I know for me, like when this interview comes out, I'm gonna be glued to the comments, reading the comments, and I've been doing this for a long ass time, and I'm still like excited to see what people are gonna say about it.
For real?
Yeah.
I don't read YouTube comments anymore because I'm kind of sensitive. So I could read that and it'll stick with me. Like somebody did a Pitchfork review of Confetti. I got a 5.6.
Okay.
Not what I was hoping for. And I made the mistake of reading the article, a really well-written article about how subpar my music is.
Really?
And like when somebody goes into detail so well, it sticks with you. You start to consider those things. So me being so receptive to people, I try not to read too much of it. But I read what's going on. I read my messages. I check my Instagram comments. So I see some of it, but YouTube's a dark place, so I won't be reading the comments on this video.
But I mean, that's the thing is that, dude, if I read a well-written Pitchfork review ripping apart my album, I definitely could imagine that affecting me.
Sure.
Whereas like the comments, like what are they gonna say? Like, you're gay, you're ugly, like whatever. I'm like, okay.
Exactly. So
that doesn't bother me. But when they're good,
yeah, and they're a good writer, you're like, damn, maybe I'm ass for at least 5 minutes.
But you know that like a big part of what's gonna make you successful as a public personality and a rapper is just being yourself, regardless. And a lot of people who have been absolutely slammed by Pitchfork or various media outlets are huge. Like I remember fucking Post Malone getting destroyed in reviews and shit back in the day. Like nobody believed that he actually was going to be able to do it. They thought he was just this weird wigger copycat whatever thing. And like, look at how much that opinion in the press did not matter.
It means nothing. And and of course, that's where you come back to is that center. Because rest in peace, Mac Miller's first album got a 1.0 on there, bro.
Yeah.
And his next one jumped to a 7.4. Point is, I'm going to read
crazy.
the next review. My next album, I'm going to read that review.
Yeah.
Hopefully it don't hurt my feelings by then, but you check for those things. As a human being, you want those validations, but it don't matter. You're right. In the end, it don't matter.
There's a level to which it's good to know what the most negative person, the person who hates you or like really is the most critical, it's good to know what they would say. But only if you're like confident enough to be able to weather that and to not really let it get to you.
For sure. Because, I mean, there's a part of my personality that is a little bit of a people pleaser. So me, I like everybody to be happy. I want to be loved by the world. That's just part of who I am. It's in my nature. My mom's like that. So that's kind of who I am a little bit. So those kind of things, they get to me, so I try not to even see them.
How do you feel about your fan base? Like when you're actually doing shows and shit, who do you see as your average?
Compared to the first tour, surprisingly diverse.
Really?
Diverse crowds. You know, I figured being a white guy that only white people would be able to tap into me. And I know white people are the main buyer of tickets, but my crowds are diverse. There's a lot of beautiful black girls in my crowd. There's a lot of beautiful white girls in my crowd. Black men, white guys, Hispanic people. I just left Arizona. So there's a lot of different people at my shows. And like I said, I thought at first that only white people would be able to see themselves in me. But apparently I'm connecting with a lot of people because those are who's coming out. So it's a beautiful thing for me.
Yeah, man. I mean, if you can be a white rapper that black people fuck with, that's saying a lot. That's not the easiest thing to achieve.
100.
To say the least. So like, okay, I kind of missed this earlier though. You mentioned Mac Miller. Who are your early people that you were looking at that you were inspired by or that were motivating you to get in the game?
I remember Nike's On My Feet came out. I was in 5th grade, and I was just like, yo, this is it right here. I thought he was hard. And a lot of times when I catch flack, like, I think about how much flack he used to catch.
Right.
And so I think a lot of people have forgotten that. So rest in peace to a legend off rip right there.
That shit is crazy because you're looking at somebody who in that early stage got so much backlash and hate, and then by that time but then became so beloved, and then when he passes, it's like you couldn't find somebody who had something negative to say about him. It was 100% all love from mad people that you would not have ever even thought would be saying something about him, you know?
That's what I'm saying. And that's why you gotta, I guess part of me is like, you gotta get over the desire to be loved first off, because that's something that I was already talking about. But anyway, other influences. Andre 3000 is one of my favorite rappers ever.
Wow.
I think just as a writer, he's incredible. I tapped in with Eminem early, of course. But Drake's like the GOAT to me. I love Drake, just how he balances everything.
Yeah.
So that's up there for me. Jay-Z, Wayne,
Yeah.
all them.
That's a pretty good lineage right there.
Yes, sir.
For sure. Andre 3000, I guess I could see that because like I was watching a little bit of interview where you were saying that you feel like your music has gotten more groovy, and the host seemed like somewhat skeptical about like exactly what was going to be groovy about it. But
For real?
I see that vibe though for sure. Like, and Andre had that, you know, it's like where whatever, or Outkast in general, like they just would bring like the dancey, like fun element that didn't like completely overwhelm it and make it feel like it was some musical ballad type
100%.
shit.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm into. I like my shows are sing-alongs. Like people are grooving in there. There's a little bit of moshing here and there, but that ain't really the nature of the shows. It's more let's vibe. Everybody gigging together.
It's supposed to feel good.
Yeah, it's a feel-good time. So there's a little bit of that. I'm so curious about this interview now. Look at me. I'm like, who the fuck said that? Who was skeptical?
It was like some Hot 97 thing or something. It was only like 10 minutes. I'm very like skeptical about watching interviews before I interview other people now because I don't want to like find out all the good stuff beforehand, but then I also want to be well researched and know shit, you know.
Well, you're doing a great job of that, bro. I'm enjoying this interview.
You are.
I am.
What is this is like the hardest question to answer, honestly, though. What is the most interesting shit that nobody ever asked you about or that you don't ever get a chance to talk about?
Sometimes I'm like, damn, maybe I need some more bullshit in my life because people ask me about music. People are very cut dry with me. They don't get into none of that funky shit with me. And me, I'm like down to talk about that, but I guess I'm just too straight laced with what I got going on in my life. I ain't in no beefs. I ain't in no public relationships, but I'm about to get all that stirred up soon. So next time I'm here, you're gonna have a lot to dive into in that regard.
It's weird to think about, right? That that's part of being a public personality.
Bigger than music.
Like when I go in to do an interview, it's like, let's talk about fights you've been in, friends of yours who have died, people that talk shit about you. It's like all like, it's just all like crazy ass shit. And it's like, it's okay. Like I've done like a million interviews and people always want to ask about Boom passing out. And it's like, they always want to talk about the one time that somebody came through on mad drugs and passed out, which I get. Like I get that. And that's like, in a weird way, it's like you need bad things to happen to you so people have a fucking thing to talk about.
100%. All the legends had bad things happen. So I'm about to get some bad shit brewing soon.
Nah, you gotta be careful, bro. You want to like shoplift like a candy bar. Don't join the Bloods. Don't go 6ix9ine on us.
Could never do that.
No, gotta know your place for sure. Yeah, there's always gonna be somebody who wants to fucking try to offer you some sort of weird level of protection or something, though, and you gotta be very careful about that.
I don't even know what you're talking about now.
I mean, like, I've seen dudes come to LA and then basically have like gangsters convince them that they're their friends, and then all of a sudden they're like extorting money out of them and like, you're not allowed to come here unless you do this or all kinds of. And in a long term way, that's basically what happened with the 6ix9ine thing, is that he like got in bed with these criminals and then they fucking wanted the world from him or wanted shit he wasn't willing to give, and that shit is messy.
For sure. I'll keep an eye out.
Like offering this weird warning to you.
It's valid.
So do you feel like on average when you make music, where do you just follow where your sort of mind is at? I notice you end up talking to the ladies a lot. You find that that's just sort of where your brain ends up gravitating towards?
Well, I look at it like this, and I think it happens naturally, but you know, they say there's 3 pillars to entertainment. There's violence, there's drugs, and there's sex.
Wow.
Now, I ain't too violent. I have potential, but I'm not very violent. I ain't too into drugs. So the sex pillar is the one I usually end up leaning on a lot. And also because I'm a big fan of women. I always have been. My parents tell me that since I was little, I just have had an affinity for women. So I like women a lot. And and I met a lot of women. So that's what I like to talk about for sure. That's kind of where my heart like resides for the most part.
You in a relationship or are you juggling multiple
I'm
women?
chilling right now. I ain't in no relationship.
Right.